Good morning and welcome to the Mountain View Computer Users Group meeting for Saturday, May 11th, 2024. My name is Barry Midgordon and
Mike McLean.
This guy is Mike McLean. That's right.
We're unrehearsed, can you tell?
Is this gonna, I got a tap there. And this is too loud? And this is our sponsor, one of our sponsors today. Again, our very own mathematician, Carolyn McLean, the Candle Lady. And there's nothing like the lovely scents of Mia Bella's candle fragrances to lift your spirits and make your home smell great. Try the Starlight Candle with scents of salted pistachio, sugared saffron at the top, jasmine butter, crystallized amber, and vanilla cream in the middle, with golden woods, oak moss, and marshmallow musk at the bottom. Or if spring lilacs are more your liking, there's a candle to suit your taste too. And don't forget to stock up on Bugs No More. Let me finish your read here. Bugs No More. The Bugs No More candles with a mixture of lemongrass and eucalyptus for a great smelling alternative to citronella to repel those pesky mosquitoes this summer. So just text, email, or phone your order to Carolyn, or you may shop online at scent-team.com/gift. Thanks, Carolyn, for sponsoring MVCUG in this episode of the Mike and Barry Show. What would you like to say? Bet you can.
I got the Starlight because it's the candle of the month, and I had an event on Wednesday, and somebody already bought it. And on the Bugs Don't Know, this has never happened to me before. I ran out. I had to do 2 orders in 1 month because I ran out of Bugs No More.
Oh no! Will you be getting more?
Yeah, I'm getting more on probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, excellent! So you can place your order. She will
Place it online, and you can always place it online. Bugs No More never goes out of stock during the summer.
Great. So thanks, Carolyn. We also have another returning sponsor. Pleased to welcome back the award-winning Story Power podcast by Lucinda Sage Midgordon as a sponsor this month. Story Power explores our human connection, creativity, and commonality through the power of story, the stories we write, film, and share with our friends, family, and the world. You can find Story Power on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, or actually, I think it's called YouTube Music now. No, it was YouTube Music. Now it's YouTube Podcasts. They've been changing things at YouTube. Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Exclusive content is also available at patreon.com/storypower. You can visit Lucinda's blog, Sage Woman Chronicles, at sagewoman.life to find out about all of Lucinda's creative work, including her novels and children's books. Our thanks to Lucinda, my wife, my sweetie, and the Story Power for being a sponsor of MVCUG's The Mike and Barry Show. If you would like to be a sponsor or know someone who would, give them this information. $10 per meeting for a slide and an ad read, $100 per year if you want to do a whole 12 months. You get a slide during the meeting, like I just said, and the meeting video is posted on our YouTube channel for all to see. And we also will mention you and link, I forgot to do the links, on MVCUG's Facebook page. So, there we go. Today's agenda, some business as usual, timely tech topics, tips of the month and favorites, some Q&A time, term of the month, and our main topic, do you need to carry a physical wallet anymore? Question. All about using a digital wallet. What can you use a digital wallet for? We'll find out, and we'll have a break or two somewhere along the line. They might not be planned. They might be spontaneous breaks. Please silence your mobile devices. If you need to take or make a call, please step out of the room. So, quick run through our usual here. Welcoming guests. We don't have any. Familiar faces. Thanks for showing up. John Buono's our president. As you know, if you're on the Google Groups mailing list, he did make mention he had a hip replacement surgery on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, on the 7th. He was discharged Wednesday or early Thursday, I'm not sure. Anyway, he is doing well. He's home, recovering. His arthritis pain is gone, he says. The only pain he's suffering now is just from the surgery recovery process, and he'll be back on his feet. Not actually, he's back on his feet already. He has to do a lot of walking, I think, in that PT stuff. But he should be back with us next month to do our topic next month. So we appreciate your support, and we'll see him again soon. Mike, you saw him a minute ago. Here he is again, Vice President, and me, Vice President, and Carolyn, who sells the candles, but she's also our treasurer. I suppose you have a report?
We have $301.21 in checking, $562.42 in savings, for a total of $827.63.
Whoa. Good thing membership season start coming around the corner here. We're in the dip. That's right. Thank you, Carolyn. Our webmaster is Jim Emmons. He keeps our website up to date at MVCUG.org. There are other resources there as well. Take a look. We have a Facebook page where events are posted, our monthly meeting events, facebook.com/MVCUG. You can post questions and discuss there too as well. Not many people do. But we do have this computer or MVCUG user group Google group email list, which is where most of the discussion is going on these days. So I think everybody here is already enrolled in this, but if you are not, you do not have to have a Google or Gmail account, but you must be a paid member of the group in the current year in order to qualify. Contact any of the officers. We will gladly add you to the mailing list. Please include your full name and the email address you want to use if you have more than one. And we will add you to the group. You'll get a confirmation email, and you can email the group back directly from your email client. You don't even have to go on the web, but you can go to the website and participate there too. The email address to send to the group, Mountain View Computer Users Group, with hyphens in between each word, at googlegroups.com. Be sure and use the email address as the from address that is the one that we set up for your account. Otherwise, it won't work.
Well, one thing we've been seeing all of a sudden the last couple of weeks, we got a couple emails from members that were marked as possible spam, and they were marked for us to inspect them and okay them. So not sure where that's coming from because...
Yeah, I was wondering about that,
Yeah, because the member that's using it, it's the same email address she was using before.
She was active, very active before.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's marking them as spam, but just be aware.
I don't
remember. Not you.
No, and I think that's what I was saying, that
Yeah.
it's subtle.
Yeah,
Google Group says Alzheimer's.
if you post something and it does seem to go for a day or two, maybe pending for us to approve it. So, and once we approve it, it goes.
Yeah. And I get a notification every day from the group that when there's new activity. So it may take up to 24 hours before one of us may approve it. So hopefully that'll get rectified. I don't know why that was happening either. But so membership benefits, in addition to our online resources, we have some hardware you can check out, a film slide scanner if you want to digitize 35 millimeter slides or negatives. And we do have a projector that you can plug into your computer or other device that may interface with it. I'm not sure what is possible today with dongles and so forth, but you can, if you need to give a presentation or just play a movie on a big screen on a wall, you can do that with a projector. And John and I will both offer discounts on professional consultations if you need on-site help with your personal computing, troubleshooting, training, whatever. Feel free to call, leave a message, text if you want. Email us too, if you know our email addresses. If we can help you without having to show up at your house, it's free to members. And then if we need to do an extended remote session, like with sharing screens, then maybe that's kind of on the clock. But there's all kinds of possibilities getting technical help if you so desire. Membership, $25 per household annually, starting in September, running through August. So that's coming up in a couple of 3 months. We're going to pay dues to Carolyn, our treasurer, of course, or you can mail a check, or you can pay on PayPal. Not anymore. So today, do you need to carry a physical wallet? The Mike and Barry Show, using a digital wallet right here, Cochise College Downtown Center. Next month, as I mentioned, pretty sure John will be back. One of his favorite kinds of topics, travel planning, summer vacation road trip, June 8th. And you'll be just back from your trip.
Lessons learned.
So maybe, you guys can help provide some feedback. And again, in this room. And as far as I know, that's all we've been confirmed through. Have you heard, Carolyn,
Through August? Or?
Yeah, I think
because they redo it.
because their fiscal year is
Yeah,
July to June.
exactly.
We haven't gotten the
So
next year yet.
we're making an assumption that in August and July, or July and August, we will stay in this room, but we don't know for sure. So,
They're in the middle of, graduation and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Try to get out to her to find out if she's got the schedule for next year.
in July, digital media generation. So once you're back from your summer road trip with all your photos and videos, John's going to teach us about creating slideshows and videos that people want to watch, and all the concerns, including audio. And then in August, searching the web, safely finding the information you want. All you want to know about search engines, protected searches, avoiding malware, narrowing down your searches, and maybe even some AI-assisted
So to say, that may completely change by the time we do it, because now
it may.
AI, I don't think you have that much control over the searching now.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, find out. I don't know. Maybe John's going to ask you to do it.
Why? I knew anything about it.
Okay. John will do that, I'm sure. So watch for the website or email or the Facebook page or the user group email list, Google group, for confirmation on our room for those July and August meetings and going forward. So like Carolyn said, we won't find out from the college for sure until after they get into the end of the fiscal years probably. So anyway, so anybody have any questions about group MVCUG business? Okay, good. Get on with it. We'll get on with it. Timely Tech Topics. We're going to revisit a couple of things and follow up from last month. I don't know if you have anything more to say about this or not. Yeah, so I heard some stuff on a podcast actually. So just to recap, Change Healthcare, big medical payment processing system site got hacked. Indications are that they made a $22 million extortion payment to a famous black hat ransomware group, ALF 5 or ALF V.
ALF V/Black Hat.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so we talked about that last month, but what has come to light since is on Ken Ray's Secure Mac Checklist podcast, episode 374, 2FA-1. There were several critical aspects of the data breach, but the main thing, the reason why the hackers were able to get in is that the server that they hacked into did not have two-factor authentication enabled. So I think they were doing like credential stuffing which, there's, on the dark web, there's databases full of passwords and app and IDs that they can try, these hackers try, and they just, they just try them. They probably have, of course, computer program and algorithm that does it for them. And when they find one that works, whoops, they're in. And if there was two-factor authentication enabled, if those credentials were put in and they were correct, then they would have had to have had that second factor. The server did not have that set up. So they were able to get into the system and move laterally around and were able to copy and encrypt huge amounts of data at Change Healthcare. That's how they did it. So we can take this as something we can learn from. If you have a login and two-factor authentication is available, turn it on, use it. It's going to be much harder for any of the bad guys to get at your personal information if you have that second factor turned on, because the bad guys shouldn't be able to have that second factor. They would have to have your phone or some other device, some other way of authenticating their ID or your ID if they were breaking into your account. So there will be, I'm sure, more to say about two-factor authentication in future meetings, because that's always coming up, internet security. Also, we have a little follow-up on the TikTok ban. We did report that in March, the House of Representatives passed legislation to ban the TikTok. And as just a quick review, what the bill did, ByteDance is the parent company in China of the TikTok service, and they would have 6 months to divest themselves of that property to a U.S. or non-Chinese company, I'm assuming, maybe. And there's a possibility of like a 90-day extension on that. So at the most, 9 months. And if they did not do that, it would become illegal for any U.S. app store or web host to offer TikTok in the United States. So because it would remain under the control of a foreign adversary. So even though supposedly TikTok's U.S. users' information has been moved to servers in Texas, there's still some question of whether or not the Chinese government still can get access to that. So 170 million Americans using TikTok, they would not be able to upgrade their app. They could still use the one they had, but over time, as upgrades came out and operating systems were upgraded, the app would deprecate, new features wouldn't be there. Eventually it would die, and nobody in the United States would be able to use it. So that's what the bill supposedly would be ending up happening. Since that time, since last meeting, the Senate has passed that bill and sent it on over to the White House, and President Biden signed it on April 24th. And it was bundled into the Ukraine-Israel aid package. Whatever, I'm not sure why, but that's how they got through.
That's how they got it?
That's how they got it through. Anyway, so TikTok now is suing the U.S. government on constitutional grounds that it infringes on 170 million Americans' First Amendment rights to free expression on the internet through their platform. And so now it goes into the courts. And
China that's suing?
no,
ByteDance.
ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. Yeah.
Right, but it's a Chinese corporation.
ByteDance is owned by Chinese, it's a Chinese company.
It's in China.
And I guess they're one of the reasons why this has come up is because there's supposedly intelligence or evidence that they are controlled by, or at least getting information to the Chinese government through, they're basically
Well, the Chinese government monitors
everything. But just everything. Anyway, so this suit could possibly go all the way up to the Supreme Court, which, that could take years. So now we have to wait and see what happens. So who knows if in 90 days I imagine that people will still be able to use TikTok. And
ByteDance has already said they're not going to divest.
no, they haven't. They have said that. Yes, they're not going to divest. They don't want to sell it. There are some. I think I saw some story that there are a group of investors that are interested in it.
ByteDance isn't going to give
But
up
they're
control.
not- I know,
They're not going
they-
to give up control of the algorithm.
No, they're not. They're
and
not
without
gonna,
the algorithm, it's pointless.
right.
So
And who knows what's going to happen? We'll see. Anyway, it may be a topic for a future tech segment. Well, or maybe it won't be worth it. Third bit of tech topic news. On a lighter note, Apple had their Let Loose event this past week, also on Tuesday, the day John had his surgery. This is kind of a break with tradition. Apple's, to my memory, has never had a major product announcement in May at all, ever. And it was at 7 a.m. in the morning, which is also a weird time, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's usually 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 a.m. Eastern. One of the things that I found out since is that they had a big gathering of reporters from all over, and other people, and developers, I guess, all over Europe gather in London. Apple has a new London facility, apparently. And they, came together in London to watch it live. And so it was in the early afternoon or mid-afternoon in London when this happened. So that may have been something to do with the timing of it. So here's what they announced. New iPad Air. Now in two sizes, an 11-inch starting at $599 and a 13-inch starting at $799. These have the Apple Silicon M2 system on a chip. The FaceTime camera has been moved to the long edge. In other words, like if you have an iPad, this is an iPad Air, the previous generation, the camera is on this side. The new ones, it's on this side. So if you have it set up like this in a little keyboard accessory, it's more like a laptop. And when you're looking at the camera for a FaceTime call or a Zoom call or something, you're looking at the person because it's in the middle top. Otherwise, if you're looking at the person on the screen that you're communicating with, you look like you're looking off to the side and not paying attention. So that move happened on the iPad Pro, on the previous version of the iPad Pro in 2022. These new Airs, this is the first time there's a 13-inch one, by the way. It used to be only 11-inch Airs. These are basically the 2022 iPad Pro priced as an Air. So it's a 2-year-old Pro, now is the Air. The only difference is it's the biometric authentication is still Touch ID. There's no Face ID on the new Airs, whereas the Pros have Face ID. And they don't have ProMotion, which is a screen technology that varies the hertz, the refresh rate of the screen based on what's happening on screen. So these new Airs support another item that was announced in a minute, and we'll see, the Apple Pencil Pro and the Apple Pencil 2nd Gen, which is what I have here. Those two pencils can be used. There's also new Magic Keyboards that came out. I'll show in a minute. But the new Airs cannot use those new Magic Keyboards. So it's a few Pro features moved down into the Air at the Air prices, a larger screen size, but some Pro features that stuck with the Pros and didn't come to the Airs. So
which one is the more like a laptop? Is that a fair way to ask it?
well, you can like this. You can put an Air on a keyboard or a Pro. I mean, it just depends on what you want to spend and what you're going to do with it. The Pro, well, the Pro iPad Pros are more expensive, and they actually went up in price. One of the reasons is they also introduced the next generation of Apple Silicon chip M4, which was at some point unexpected, and then there was a rumor at the last minute, and everybody thought, no way they're going to do that. It's out of cycle. usually the best chip is introduced in the iPhone in the fall, and then that technology is passed into the M series for the Mac. Well, they're doing things on their own schedule now. Doesn't matter when, they're going to introduce it when they're ready to introduce it. So this is based on a new 3 nanometer process in terms of the chip fabbing. It's more efficient, and they wanted to get it out the door because it supports these higher end pro features that they wanted into the iPad Pros. And now they're using the buzzword AI. They're all AI capable. So it's likely that the Macintosh line that hasn't been updated from an M2 to an M3 yet is going to jump to the M4 now, whenever they happen to announce those. So new iPad Pro as well as new iPad Airs. These have the M4 Apple Silicon. They have redesigned these to be even thinner and lighter than before. Interestingly enough, the largest 13-inch iPad Pro is lighter than the 13-inch iPad Air and thinner. In fact, they made a big deal about it being the very thinnest device that they've ever made in the history of Apple, and they compared it to an old iPod Nano, which was had been the thinnest thing that they had ever done. And this new iPad is thinner than the iPod Nano. So 11-inch starting at $9.99 and 13 starting at $12.99. They have a new display technology that they're branding Ultra Retina XDR using tandem OLED. This is the first iPads with OLED screens, and because the brightness of OLED technology is not as bright as like LCD or screens, they came up with a brand new display technology where they sandwich 2 OLED screens together. That's why they call it tandem OLED, to get the brightness they wanted. And even though there's 2 of those as opposed to 1 LCD screen, it's still a lot thinner, and so that's how they can make the whole thing thinner. So these are way pro machines. Lots of details, of course, on the website. They support this new Apple Pencil Pro, which has a pinch gesture to provide menu systems on the screen with haptic feedback. So the end of it vibrates when you pinch it, so you know what happens. It has a built-in gyroscope, so when you roll the pencil, it can give signals to the software to do something with whatever you're doing. Like if you have a paintbrush that's an odd shape, you can change the angle of it as you're painting. This new Apple Pencil Pro only works with the new iPad Airs and the new iPad Pros. So they're now selling 4 different models of the Apple Pencil, the original one, the second generation, Apple Pencil 2, the one that came out last year, the Apple Pencil USB-C, and now this new Apple Pencil Pro. Seems confusing, but if you decide which iPad you want to buy and you want to have a pencil to go with it, basically there's 2 choices for each iPad depending on where in the line of iPads that you are choosing from. The new Apple Pencil Pro is $129 starting price. Well, that is the only price. There's only one model. They also have introduced 2 new Magic keyboards, and these are exclusively for the 11 and 13-inch iPad Pros. Because of the design of the Pros has changed to be thinner and lighter, the design of the keyboard had to change. It has a function row, as you could see in the little video there, where you can do different things. It has a larger trackpad with haptic feedback, so when you click it, it vibrates, lets you know that you've clicked. It doesn't make a noise anymore like the ones before. And the 11-inch starts at $299, and the 13-inch is $349. If you get a new Air and you want a Magic Keyboard, you still have to buy the previous generation Magic Keyboards, like the one I have right here. They still work with the new hardware, and they're still selling them. They come in the 2 sizes because the previous Pros had 2 sizes as well. So those still work with the new Airs, but they don't have function rows or any of that other new stuff. And they also upgraded some software. Final Cut Pro 10.8 for the Mac and 2.0 for the iPad were announced and released. The iPad version, interestingly enough, is the one where it got the most attention, the most new stuff. And I don't think they clarified it in the presentation, but it may be that the Mac version will support this as well. But there's a new video capture app for the iPhone that integrates with this new version of Final Cut Pro, which enables multi-cam capture and editing live while it's being done. So you can set up a studio where you have up to 4 iPhones connected, and it's wireless to your iPad with Final Cut Pro running, and excuse me, and have all this video coming in all at once and being able to edit it and choose between the cameras and so forth. And then when the shoot is over, then all the high-res video is copied in after the fact. So it's using low-res stream to do the live edits or the live capture, and then after the shoot, it downloads the high-res so that you can finish the project. Of course, they are now using that AI buzzword. Apple is, even though they've avoided it up until recently. The version on the Mac, they say, has new AI features as well. So we'll see. It's beyond my level, although I'm interested maybe in my retirement looking at Final Cut Pro and playing with it and seeing what I can do. So Logic Pro is the music or the audio editing app, and it also got new versions announced for both the Mac and the iPad, of course, with new AI features. And that basically covered the whole event. It was only about 38 minutes long. If you're interested in seeing more of the details and hearing all the specifications, you can watch the video yourself. It's on Apple's website or on YouTube, or if you have an Apple TV app, or not the Apple TV app, but just a TV app from Apple on any Apple device, including some selected smart TVs also have it. You can watch this. You don't have to have an Apple TV Plus subscription. This is free content on the TV app. But if you're interested, take a look. Any questions about tech topics today? All right, tips of the month. Moving right along here. I think we have a Windows tip. Microsoft Edge settings with Mike McLean.
Okay, I'm not going to do a demo. Once we have this set up and running, I really don't want to start switching connections around. I just wanted to mention a couple things I ran across about Microsoft Edge. I don't use it myself. I use Chrome. But there are times when you launch a function in Windows, if it needs a browser, it will launch Edge. Something I wasn't aware of, though, is that Edge, when it launches, if it's set up to do so, will then bring in whatever you've been doing in other browsers, Firefox or Chrome or whatever. And what I wasn't aware of is there's a setting under the profile that actually set up every time I launch Edge, suck in whatever Chrome's been doing. So
Cool.
yes, so the best of all worlds, Google and Microsoft get to know everything you've done. I actually went in and checked, and it was off by default. But it's very easy, I noticed, to actually set it up. I went into this device, which I hadn't used Edge on. I brought it up, and it went through, welcome to the new Edge and all this. And it did have a thing, would you like me to make life more convenient for you? And if I had done that, it would have started sucking in everything else.
Oh, that's how they term it.
Yeah.
More convenience.
So just be aware of that there are those options in there. You go into the profile, and it does have options. Do you want me to import information from other browsers? And then if you dig a little deeper, there's actually one. Do you want me to turn on and always import from Chrome?
What does that mean?
Sorry, I imagine you're saying history of what I was using.
Is that
Yes, your history, every place you've been, everything you've done, it will then bring in. Actually, I can see that it is convenient if you actually go back and forth. what it basically will do is it will sync Chrome with Edge, so that whatever you've been doing in Chrome, all of a sudden now you've also got that on Edge.
Does that include like any open tabs that happen to be open in Chrome?
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
And does
It might.
does Chrome have to be open for it to do that?
No.
Huh.
No.
Chrome stored my password. Is it encrypted? Tell what goes?
Probably not, but I don't know. But I would be very surprised if that actually went over, because it'd be using different encryption schemes.
Yeah.
So probably not. But that does lead to the other thing I noticed is you can't quite see it on this screen here, on this screenshot. But if you scroll down, then there is a section called Digital Wallet, which surprised me.
Oh,
Yeah. If you'd gone down a little bit further, you would have seen Digital Wallet.
Well,
And
it was just on the web.
and you oh, it's a generic shot of
The
it.
generic, yeah.
And what really surprised me was on the Digital Wallet, it says, okay, more information about it. I went into it, and it had a picture of one of my credit cards, to include the last four numbers and the expiration date, which is one reason I'm not bringing this up. I'm sitting there going, I've never set up Digital Wallet. And then I thought about it a little bit and went, it's grabbing it from when I purchased Microsoft Office. I'll bet money that's where it's getting it from. Because it was just a generic picture of a credit card, but I knew what kind of credit card it was, I knew the last four, and I knew the expiration. I'm going, well, that's kind of rude. But
So it wasn't pulling that from Chrome.
no, it wasn't pulling that from Chrome. But be aware it does have a digital wallet capability built into Microsoft Edge. I'm not really sure the use case for that. If you have a Surface that will detach from the keyboard, you might be using that as a tablet. And that might perhaps be handy, maybe. Tony.
This is what you were saying. I had my credit cards changed.
Well, this one. Oh, all my stuff's on the internet. I know.
Whatever I had, that can still be there, but it's
Yes, exactly. Now, I'll say that the one thing is the credit card companies have gotten really good at fraud alerts, because whenever my credit card's been grabbed, it's been grabbed half a dozen times over the years. There was one time someone who also lives in my house, who shall remain nameless, was ordering something off of a credit card, and she mixed up the CVV numbers, and she put in the wrong one.
I put the number to a different credit card.
Oh my God, every device I had exploded. I got phone calls, emails, texts all at once going, someone's hacking your card.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, it was. So they're really good at fraud detection alerts anymore. But still, I don't like them moving my credit card information around without me explicitly knowing about it. So just kind of be aware of that. You may want to look around at your Edge settings. And since
Yeah, because
it's coming all Windows.
I know, because I use Edge at work, and, you know, I shop and buy printing services online from various vendors, and it will save credit card information for you.
Yeah.
So that's probably where it got it.
And that could be a good thing, depending on what you want, as we're going to discuss later.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks, Mike.
Right.
Oh, another question.
I think it's possible that if you wanted to make a purchase, you call your credit card company, and they give you a specific number to use.
Yes, some credit cards are set up for that, yes. They're called virtual credit card numbers, one-time use only. Yeah.
Yeah, more and more banks are doing that. I know my bank does it. And there's third-party services that can do that for you as well. Yeah. Okay, the Mac tip of the month. Instant file deletion. Have you ever had a file on your desktop or on your computer somewhere and you wanted to just get rid of it without having to put it in the trash and then empty the trash? You knew that you definitely didn't want it. You just wanted it to go away. Well, you can do that very quickly using the keyboard. So what you do is select the file in the Finder, and then you hold down the Option key, and if you have a keyboard that has an option on both sides of the space bar, you can use either one, doesn't matter. Don't have to have both, but just one of the two. and then you add the command key to that. So you hold both command and option down at the same time, and then you tap the delete key on your keyboard, and poof, the file is deleted. With just one little caveat, it does give you an alert saying, are you sure you want to do this? Because you can't back out of it. It's not like when you put something in the trash, if you haven't emptied the trash, you can always get it back. But if you do this, it's not recoverable. So it does give you a little warning. So option, command, delete will instantly delete whatever file you have selected on the Mac. And we'll just go through it real quick here. I have this file on my desktop here. It says, delete me, please. It just says, this is the contents of the file. It can be instantly deleted. So I want to delete this file here. So I've clicked on it to select it. I hold down option, command, hit the delete key, and then I get this warning. Are you sure? Really? And then once you click delete, it's gone. It's not in the trash. The trash is still empty. There's nothing in the trash. So that file just went completely away. I can't get it back. It's okay. Didn't need it anyway. It was only there for the demo. And that's how you do it.
Has it been, that file is gone, but has it been X'd out so that they're, written over so nobody can get to it later?
Good point. Good point. It has not been written over. No, the directory on the disk has been edited to say, okay, this space is now available again for new storage.
The NSA can get it.
Yeah, if you had file recovery software that could, if you got into it right away, you could still recover it. Yes, the file is still there. It's on in a place on the SSD that can be written over now. So eventually it would, but it doesn't automatically secure delete anything. Interesting question. I believe there's a setting for the trash globally on the Mac. I'll have to look this up and follow up, but I think there is a setting where you can say safe or secure delete everything where it would do that. Tony has a question.
Dealing with the delete of that file as of today. Let's say you got it backed up on some other media source. The hard drive or something, bring that file. Does that recognize that it was deleted even though it's taken?
That may depend on the backup. So another interesting aspect to that question. Since it was on my desktop, and I have my desktop synchronizing through iCloud Drive, that means my Mac at home also had that file on it. And my Mac at home has Time Machine hooked up and is on all the time, and so I set this up last night. So that file has been backed up on my Time Machine on my Mac Mini at home. So if I did want that back, I could go back into my Time Machine backup and pull it back, because the Time Machine's not going to reflect it's not going to delete old files, because that's the whole point of the backup, is to go back in time and get something that's been deleted and bring it forward in time. So it's possible that you can do that. Yes, if you have a backup going, depending on the circumstances, even if you delete it, and even if secure delete's on, it's possible even to get it back from a backup. Good question.
I see that Windows has the same capability, Shift Delete.
Shift delete.
Also do it, yeah.
Oh, that's even simpler. It's only one key.
Shift Delete, and you got the, are you sure?
Yeah, good. All right. And we have an iOS tip of the month. This is courtesy of John via the magic of video recording and YouTube. So he's going to tell us how to create a ringtone in GarageBand on your iPhone. If you have an iPhone and you want to create your own custom ringtone, this is one way you can do it.
This is going to be a short demo on how to make a ringtone using Apple's GarageBand, which is a free app. You can get it in the App Store. It is available in iOS as well as macOS, and the procedures into it are pretty much the same. So when you first open GarageBand and you see a screen like this, to get a voice recording, which is what we're going to do, is you hit the little microphone icon up in the upper right-hand corner, and you get the recording screen. And what we're going to do is first we're going to go over the settings icon, which is the gear over here, and make sure our metronome count in and actually turn off count in. So what we're going to do now is go up and hit the record button. You have a user group message. You have a user group message. So this is going to be my ringtone. Anytime that I get a message from the user group, I know that it has come in. So now we're going to click over in the upper left-hand corner, the one that looks like little blocks, and that's going to give our recording. So we're going to play our recording. You have a user group message. You have a user group message. Okay. And stop it. And if we highlight it, we can trim it down and move it over and play it again. User group message. You have a user group message. Yep, that looks pretty good. Well, first we're going to hit the upside down triangle and go to My Songs. And in My Songs, we're going to click on it, rename it, and we're going to call this one User Group Message. And once we have that, we're going to come down to Share, and we're going to save it as a ringtone. And it's going to go into the ringtones automatically with the name User Group Message. I can check that. We're going to export it. Now we're going to come back to the iOS desktop. Now that we're back at the desktop, what we're going to do is attach the ringtone to a person. And in this case, I'm going to go over to Messages. I have a group of the MVCUG officers. I'm going to click on that, go down to the people. I'm going to select Barry for this one, hit Edit, and then come down here to where it says Text Tone. And I'm going to change that. I'm come down here and I'm going to scroll down and all the way till I get to ringtones. And I'm going to select User Group Messages. You have a user group message. You have a user group message. And now when Barry sends me a text, I will hear you have a user group message. And that's all there is to it. Enjoy, folks.
You get all that?
Wow, it was fast.
Yeah.
But it's on the recording.
Yeah, it'll be on the video. And don't tell John, but I'm going to try this out live next month in the meeting. I'll send him a message and see if his phone says that. All right. A quick iPad OS tip. I wasn't going to do an iPad tip this month, but it actually segues into a favorite. So the tip is how to see your app battery usage if you have an iPad. This also works on an iPhone, but that's okay. So I'm going to, so now you can see my iPad. It is up there. Yes, okay. So to see your battery usage in general, you go to the Settings app. So it's the app icon that looks like gears. And on the left-hand sidebar, you need to scroll until you find Battery, little green icon. And it'll come up here and it shows you your you have an on-off switch to show your battery percentage in the little icon bar at the top of the screen if you want it. You can turn on low power mode there if you need to. But the usage screen gives you the last 24 hours. It shows you the battery level over those 24 hours when it was plugged in, and then the activity chart below. You can also look at the last 10 days. If you scroll up a little bit more, it'll show you battery usage by app, and it shows the percentage of activity for each app from the highest at the top down to the lowest. And you can see that the app that I use the most so far in the last 10 days is an app called Snake. So keep that in mind for another segment in a few minutes here. So that's, yes.
Home and lock screen mean I'm leaving it on.
Home and...
My second one at 19% is home and lock screen. See where yours is 1%?
Oh, yeah.
Is it because of a setting that I have it,
you have your lock. You have your lock auto lock set so that it stays on longer. Then that's probably it.
Need to manually turn it off.
Yeah, if you want to look at your auto lock settings, it's under display and brightness. I searched for it because I know sometimes I can't remember. But if you want to, you scroll to display and brightness. Oh yeah, I think that is under general actually. So it's auto lock is the setting you want to look at. Auto lock, display and brightness.
Oh, mine's on never.
That's why. So if it's on never, your phone lock screen will stay on until you manually put it to sleep.
Yeah, I've been manually putting it to sleep because I realized that was contributing to my battery dropping.
So now
Because it was on all the time. There we go. 2 tips in 1. Forgot to switch screens. Okay. All right. It's been an hour. Would you like to take a break? Or do you want to see our favorites first? Okay. So here we go. We're going to share favorites. Mike has got one first. Krebs. This is a good one. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, this is
too.
just very short. Sometimes people wonder where we get some of our information about what's happening in the security world. And Brian Krebs is a good source. He has his blog, Krebs on Security. Actually, a lot of the mainstream news, they get their information off of him as well. He's often one of the first ones to break this stuff. So he has a blog. Generally writes on it pretty good every couple of days. And what's the URL on that? Is it? Figured it was about like that. Yeah.
It's just the name you see there with .com, no spaces.
So yeah. So just wanted to let you be aware of that resource. It's an excellent resource. He's a little higher level than what a lot of the mainstream gets into a little more detail, or will let you know where you can find out more information. So it's just a good resource. Thought I'd bring that up.
All right, my favorite. Hint, hint. Snake.io. So, like, I was wondering, okay, what am I going to do for my favorite this month? I don't know. So I thought, I know. I will look on my devices and see which apps I'm using the most. And there it is. It's a game. I use my iPad for consumption mainly, reading, game playing, watching videos, and stuff like that. So I don't know if anybody has played any of the old classic Snake games, but this one is a homage to that, I guess. So here's the snake icon. Oops, I'll just launch it up here. It's got a couple of modes of play. The one I'm gonna use is just a plain old play, where you eat little dots on the screen and you get bigger, and then if you can kill a snake or eat the remains of a killed snake, you get even bigger. And the whole idea is not to be killed or run into the wall or whatever. You don't want to run into anything. And this one is, the old Snake games were like left, right, horizontal, vertical, and those are the only directions you can go. This one is freeform, all over the place. There's also these other monthly game sessions where you can play for certain kinds of things, like a certain amount of points and you get a free skin. You get to you get to shed your skin as a snake and get a new skin. And you have a boss snake that you have to avoid, or if you get a power up, then you can kill it in certain ways. But we won't go into that. But I'll just show a little bit of what the gameplay looks like. It's got a little controller on the bottom right, which you can control the direction, and you eat these little dots, and you get a little bit bigger. If you press the arrow on the lower left, you go faster, but you lose mass, and you get smaller. Yeah, it's similar.
Actually, what it's reminding me of is Sport at the first levels.
I've never played that one.
It's an older game, 2010.
See if I can find a snake where I can corner it. Oops. Oh, I ran into that one and it ate me. Oh dear. Yeah, so you can pretend like you're in RFK Jr.'s brain eating his memories. Anyway, so that's been my favorite since I've been using the most. I thought, well, okay, why not? That's how it is. So, real quick, we'll go on, keep going. So, anybody else have anything, a favorite, something, a website, an app, a gadget?
We talked about moving their email.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it has.
Yeah, it has.
Yep. We got the notification. All you really need to do is log into Yahoo Mail using your Cox credentials, and then and it'll set it up.
But I had a Yahoo account with different email and I go in there. I could get there anytime I want, but I'm still going through my Cox mail. Like it isn't going to.
I'll show you at the break.
Yeah, because I have a Yahoo account too, and now I've got my 2 Cox accounts all in Yahoo, so I have 3 accounts.
Yeah.
So it creates a new Yahoo account for the Cox
Yes.
part? So if you already had a Yahoo email, it doesn't combine it?
No, actually, there's the capability to switch between. Because now I have like 4 Yahoo accounts, I could switch between them.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
Once you get set up the credentials for all of them.
yeah. That's the client I'm going to help this afternoon after the meeting. She's got that, and she hasn't gotten any email for a couple of weeks because she didn't know how to do it. And she called Cox for support, and they said, create a new password and take it over to the Cox store, and they can help you. And then she got over there, and they said, no, we can't do that for you.
Carol, you can't even get into the Cox account.
Yeah. Well, she's still receiving emails, but she can't send or forward or anything. At least that's what she tells me. I may get there and find out she hasn't even been receiving them. Anyway. So.
Pay attention to the detail a little better than others.
All right. So that actually segues into our general Q&A session here. So any other questions?
Oh, one thing I will mention that I thought is really rather odd. Apparently, you have to set up the account, the Yahoo account. You have to sign in on each device you might have. For example, the main laptop I use at home for entertainment during the evening, I have like 4 emails set up on that. That happened to be the one I used. This one I don't use as often, and I've only got 2 of my Yahoo accounts showing instead of 4 of them because I've only signed in on 2 of them on this device. So I would expect Yahoo to transfer that. It doesn't. I figured that once I've logged into the other device, I'd have them on all my devices, and they don't. They actually have to log in on separately on each of them.
And another thing that I noticed, especially because I have it on my phone, I have one of the accounts on my phone, that if you want to delete the old account, because I tried sending an email on my phone, but I hadn't deleted the old account, it actually went in and tried to send it on the old account and says that's no good. So once I deleted the old account, then I'm able to send. So once you set it up like on an iDevice, you want to delete the old account because it still thinks you're a real Cox account when you really are. Your account still says Cox, but...
Well, and on what you're talking about, one of the things that we ran into with Table 1 changing our accounts is if you've picked up any apps using that email, you have to go in and delete the app to get it to do updates or anything on those apps. They will try to send to you with emailing.
The pilot email stays the same. You still send it links to @cox.net, even though on Yahoo now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what will happen to you guys, but in this,
I'm going to make an educated guess here that your Apple ID email was your Cable One email, and when that switched, you could no longer use that Apple ID email for your Apple ID account. So that's what I'm saying. So any apps you bought on your app from your Apple ID, that's connected to your Apple ID. So if the email on your Apple ID changes, if if the email that you give an Apple for your Apple ID goes away and you have a different one, and then Apple sees that that's not a active email. So here's the tip for Apple IDs: always use your iCloud ID email address for your Apple IDs, because it doesn't change. As long as you have an active Apple ID, you have an email address of your name or whatever you want at iCloud.com. It's always there, and just use that for your Apple ID, and don't use a third-party email for your Apple ID, because your third-party email addresses, as we've seen, it may change because the company providing it may decide we don't want to pay for those servers anymore. Or your service may completely change, like a different internet service.
What this is because you still keep your email address as being at Cox, even though it's on.
Yeah, it's just Yahoo is just using, Cox is just using the Yahoo Mail infrastructure, but it's not really, you're getting it through the Yahoo client, but it's still Cox.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
Right. Well, that's nice. That makes it more convenient for their customers.
Right.
But like,
because now I don't have to set up a separate Cox account using Outlook or some other client.
But that's one of the reasons I've never used the email address provided by my ISP as my main email address for anything, because I change internet service providers. I've had 3 in the house we're in now, so. Okay. Any other questions that we can answer, or any answers that we can provide for your questions? Okay. We're at the break point then. Have a break. All right. We're back from break. We're on to the next segment. Just a subtle reminder again, keep your devices on silent. So, we have a term of the month, which is related to our main topic about digital wallets. And this term is Secure Enclave. I don't know if anybody has heard this term before, wondered about it. This is actually, and I'm speaking as a Mac geek here, this is an Apple terminology for a technology. So, the Secure Enclave actually applies to Apple devices, but the technology behind it is used on other smart devices as well. So the Secure Enclave, it's a dedicated secure subsystem that's integrated on Apple systems on a chip, which is, like I mentioned, the M4 earlier being introduced. That's a system on a chip. It's a whole integrated system that includes the CPU, the GPU, neural engine, memory, and all kinds of algorithmic segments to deal with certain kinds of data processing. It's isolated from the main processor. The Secure Enclave is. Just a minute, Tony. And when something is saved to the Secure Enclave, it's an extra layer of security because it is only on that device. So anything that uses the Secure Enclave, it's encrypted and it's on that device in such a way that only by unlocking the device can that data be used. So, question, Tony. This goes back to the very first Apple Silicon chip for the iPhone, I believe, which would have been, say, 2000, about 2010. So using an iPhone for, it started when they introduced Touch ID. That may have been about the same time. I can't remember exactly, but whenever the first iPhone that had Touch ID, a biometric authentication method for unlocking the phone, that data for recording that fingerprint or an algorithm that represented that fingerprint was stored on the secure enclave. So it was a special part of the silicon, the chips involved, that run the computer for that device, that is encrypted and secure and only can be accessed by unlocking the device. So it's been around on Apple devices for quite a long time, at least a decade. And it also applies to the digital wallet in that anything you put into a digital wallet on an Apple device, and as we'll see on other smartphones made by Google and Samsung and others that have this technology built in, that data is encrypted and protected, and it's only on that device. It's never transmitted anywhere else, not even to the parent company that makes the device. So this is part of the security measures that are employed for digital wallets, as well as other things like, unlocking the phone with your fingerprint or your Face ID, whatever.
So would it be fair to say that's what other technologies call a sandbox?
I think it's even more than just a sandbox.
Okay.
I don't know what the other brands call it.
Well, sandbox is kind of a generic term.
Yeah.
Or when you've isolated all the processing from everything else.
Right.
If you use something like VMware, you can even isolate the hardware. Virtual.
Right. And I think, conceptually, yes, that's correct. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, we're going to move right along to to the main topic for today. Do you need to carry a physical wallet? You're only going to have to answer that for yourself. But here's a little statistic to get us started. The number of digital wallet users worldwide is expected to exceed 5.2 billion in 2026, up from 3.4 billion in 2022. That's according to a research firm, Juniper Research. So it's here now. It's the wave of the future. We've heard talk for decades, I suppose, maybe, about the cashless society. I'm not sure that's really ever going to happen. But there is a digital divide that keeps some people from participating in this kind of technological advancement. But for those that can, there certainly is an interesting question to ponder if we can get along with just a digital wallet rather than having a physical wallet stuffed full of cards and papers and records and cash. So we're going to start at the beginning. What is a digital wallet? So a digital wallet is basically an application on your device, your smartphone, maybe your smartwatch as well that's integrated, that you can use to make payments and other things. It allows you to make those payments from financial institutions, banks and credit unions, without handling physical money by using your smartphone or your smartwatch or your computer, depending on how things are integrated. So common wallets, these wallet apps, are available with certain devices. Some of them are only available with certain devices. So you got a common wallet for Apple devices that you can use Apple Pay. That's the brand name for the process. Android devices or, Google-made phones like Google Pixels. They have Google Pay. And Samsung devices, Samsung smartphones have an app called Samsung Pay. And then other devices may use the Google Pay app because they have access to the Google Play Store where you can get that app, or maybe the manufacturer, if it's not Google or Samsung or Apple, they may also provide a payment app that's called a wallet. So there's common wallets, and there's also other options that you can use that are more cross-platform, apps like Venmo and PayPal, which are related because Venmo is owned by PayPal. And Zelle, which is a payment app or a way of sending money from one source to another or one person to another. Some bank apps, I should say, may offer digital wallet features or may integrate one or more of these systems. Like my bank, I can transfer money from my bank to somebody else's bank account, and they use the Zelle infrastructure to do that. I don't have to have the Zelle app. I can use my bank app to do it. And there are other apps like this across the globe. Just depends on your geographic location, the platform you're using, the phone, and the availability through the app stores on those devices. So some of these apps you can only use the payment system that they're built for, and others you can add other payment options into them, like you can with the generic wallet apps that come with the major phone platforms. So how do these digital wallets work? Well, they use one of three different ways, or a combination of more than one of these ways. The first being what's called near field communication, or NFC. So there's radios built into the devices that communicate with radios that are on a payment terminal, for instance. And they're called near field because they have to be in very, very close proximity, I think within a couple of 3 centimeters or something like that. Of course, most of the world does metric. You could say about an inch, maybe. So the smartphone transmits a payment information when you get it close enough, once configured to do this, to that device, the payment terminal. And then Apple Pay or Google Pay, they both use this NFC technology. It also has other uses, like if you've ever used just your regular bank card, whether it be credit or debit, and you use a tap-to-pay system at a payment terminal, that's also using that near-field communication technology. The chip on the card, it can be sensed by the radio on the device. It doesn't have to have its own power. Your credit card doesn't have a battery and have an operating system or anything. It just has the little chip on it. So the near-field technology can actually be kind of one way. It can sense something that's been configured to communicate with it. So you can tap to pay with a regular card that uses NFC. But Apple and Google specifically, in their major wallet apps, adopted this technology and have those radios built into their phones. And I know it's in Apple Watch as well. It's probably in other smartwatches, so you can use your watch to pay with as well. Another way that these payment wallets work is through what's called magnetic secure transmission, MST. This I think predates NFC a little bit. It was kind of the first or early way of, specifically, I think, Samsung to get their Samsung wallet to work in a broader environment. But what it does is it uses magnetic waves to send the data instead of a radio signal between two radios that are close to each other. And it's similar to basically swiping the magnetic, stripe on your card through the payment terminal. So the magnetic waves are transmitting the data. Depending on the age of your phone, Samsung Pay uses both MST and NFC. It could use one or either one, except for a newer Samsung phone. They've dropped this technology. Starting in 2021, they stopped using MST and just standardized on near-field communication, because most of the payment terminals at that time then had been updated to do that. Before the payment terminals had been updated with NFC, the MST would work because you held it close to the magnetic stripe reader on the payment terminal. So it would send magnetic waves, just like the magnetic data on the stripe on your card. And then a third option for using payments has been using quick response codes, QRC, or barcodes. In in the app. So you bring up an app and you're going to pay, but it flashes like a QRC, and it has to be scanned by somebody at the payment terminal. And you'll maybe have a handheld scanner that they get beep, and then it'll transfer the data, the payment data. It could also be that the terminal may throw up a QRC that you got to scan with your phone, but I don't think that's as common. So PayPal and Venmo and many non-U.S. bank applications will use QRCs to initiate payments. And some retail store apps will use this as well. If you are a Target Circle member and you have the Target app on your phone, if you go to pay with your Target app because you have a payment card that's been linked to your Target Circle app, you bring up a barcode and the checkout person at Target will scan it, and then it'll send the payment information. They also, on the self-serve ones, you can scan it yourself. Kroger Pay at Fry's. Kroger does not take tap-to-pay stuff, even though their terminals can do it because they have newer terminals. But they have Fry's. Kroger owns Fry's, and they're rolling out. They have said that they are initiating Apple Pay and Tap to Pay across their store networks, but our Fry's here hasn't got it going yet. I asked. Well, it's been a while now, but anyway, you can bring up the Fry's app has an option to bring up Kroger Pay, and if you have an account with Fry's and a payment card that's been associated or linked to your Fry's account, then you could bring up a barcode and you could use that on the checkout, and it'll initiate a payment from your Fry's associated debit or credit card. So QRCs, and these are still being used quite often, I think, depending on the vendor and the store and the technology that they want to support.
Like UPS for Amazon products.
Yeah, well, they use barcodes to scan for tracking, but it's not for payment.
They are clearly doing some kind of payment with Amazon because I can just go in with my package. They have nothing on it. I can go in, and they have already pre-made an arrangement or paid UPS because I don't have to even...
Like if you're returning something. All right, so how do you choose a digital wallet? What's involved with choosing a digital wallet? So let's see. So it may come down to whatever device you own. So if you have an Android device, especially if it's a Google Pixel, a Google branded Android device, you have Google Pay. If you have an iPhone running iOS, then you've got Apple Pay, an Apple Pay wallet. And if you've got a Samsung phone, then you've got Samsung Pay. And you can also use Google Pay because it's got an Android-based operating system. So these are, the main platform choices to start off with. There are other apps which you can add if you want to have different wallet apps, but these are the ones that come with, and they're built in, their app's already there for you. So that's one choice. But these phones will support other wallets. Like we've mentioned these before, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. You can get these apps and other wallet apps in the respective app stores.
Would you say, generally speaking, is the level of encryption and safety the same with these three as an Apple or Google or device?
My personal opinion would be I trust them less, especially PayPal and Venmo, than the built-in wallet apps from the major manufacturers. I don't know. I don't know for sure if these third-party wallets actually use the secure enclave or the equivalent technology that the other phones have for that kind of stuff. I suspect that they do, because it would be real damaging brand wise if the to find out if these things weren't securely encrypted. But
Well, I wouldn't be that concerned about the implementation. What I'd be concerned about with cash transfer apps like this is that banks treat it as if you withdrew something out of an ATM. There have been, there have been cases. No, not that. There have been cases where people have accidentally transferred money using one of these to the wrong person, and once you do that, money's gone. If you could contact the bank and said, "I didn't mean to send it to that person," there's like tough. To them, it's like you just withdrew cash out of a machine and gave it to somebody.
Okay.
So
and
it does.
I do the same thing with my.
well, the way those wallets work is that you add payment cards into them to use. So if it's a credit card and you use it as a credit card, you've got fraud protection from the bank that issued that card, and it's not it's not like a cash withdrawal.
But they're not willing to give that kind of protection to cash transfer apps like these.
Right.
Oh, okay. Because like I use a credit card on PayPal. I use my face.
Yeah, and you use a credit card on PayPal, that's fine because they're going through your credit card.
Yeah.
But you can use these. You could use these to just transfer money out of your bank account
Right.
to somebody else.
So if you're using it for just connected to your bank account and the money's going from bank account to bank account, that's different than using the card as a payment payment method. Yeah.
Well, like Brazil is used for cash transfer.
Yeah.
It's a cash transfer app.
Now I've used it bank account to bank account.
Yeah.
But I know who I'm sending it to.
Yeah.
I don't use it for paying bills or buying things. Yeah.
If I want to transfer $100 to you, and we both are using the Zelle cash payment app, we both have Zelle, I could transfer $100. Now, say that I'm setting it up, and my finger twitches, and I accidentally hit Tony in my registry instead, and I say send to Tony. I did not mean to send it to Tony. Tony, can I have that money back? No. I tell the bank I accidentally transferred money to somebody I didn't intend it to. I want my money back. They said, stuff. No recourse.
Okay, so as I understand the way that you can use these things is you can put money in a wallet on them versus using the credit card or my bank account.
Yeah, you can fund an account.
Is any of the three more secure or safe? Or
Well, depends on I think what you're going to do with it.
Well, PayPal's been around forever. I use PayPal. Yes, PayPal, you can do that. You can either put money into a PayPal account, or you could just do what I just do anymore. Is all I do is I have a credit card hooked up to it, and I'll often use a PayPal to pay for something, and it'll just take the money straight out of my credit card. I just use that so I don't have to keep giving my credit card number to different companies. So I use that, and I trust PayPal because I've been using it for like 20 years. The others, I assume they work something along the same lines.
I think
My age is showing. I don't trust any of the new ones.
I think Venmo's weird because it's like a social media network based around sharing money with other people. And I thought, what's that? How do because I had to use Venmo to pay a snake removal guy. They didn't take any other form of payment. So I had to download, install, and set up a Venmo account just to pay for this guy's services. And then I've also sent money through Venmo to like my wife's cousin to help support their kids in school for a school project or something. It was how they could do it. And, now if I open my Venmo app, I've got these notifications about the snake guy and my wife's cousin and their other activity in Venmo, giving people money or receiving money from other. And it's like, why do I care? Why do I want to see this activity?
Yeah.
So, yes. So I don't know. I have it in case I need to do it, but it's like, what's the, why build a social network around transferring money? I didn't get
I
it.
think that's one of the cheap ways people raise money for donations if somebody's got cancer or can't get any.
Maybe but there's other venues for that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tony.
If I understand that, you would keep a balance in PayPal, and then that would be drawn against.
You can.
No, you can. I don't. I keep a.
It's not whether you do it or not. but is PayPal sort of set up? You leave a balance in there, and
You can't.
your electric company, gas company would automatically draw against it. But what I'm trying to say, if there's only $100 in there, you can overdraw it.
Yes. Usually the way it's set up, for example, I don't keep any money in my PayPal account now. I just have a credit card hooked up to it. So if I make a payment, it looks to see if I've got any money. It goes, no, it doesn't. It goes to my credit card. And I think that's the way it normally is. If you try to take money out of your account and you don't have enough, it'll go to an alternate payment automatically and get whatever else it needs. Now, if you don't have an alternate payment set up, then I don't know how it would do it.
Probably would just not do the transaction.
I think
Personally, that way, I don't think I would like that.
Yeah. So, when you're making choices like this, you need to check with your bank to see what kinds of things are supported by your bank, and also merchants that you deal with. What kinds of payment services or payment methods do they accept? If they do accept digital wallet payments, there's a lot of variability there that you can find out about by checking with your bank and merchants to find out, what would be a good choice if you wanted to do a digital wallet.
They are trying to push this out more. I just had one of my credit cards a couple months ago pushed out to me that payment like this is now part of their banking app on the phone. So now they automatically took my credit card and added it into the banking app in my phone. So now I can use that. It's separate from the Apple Pay. It's in its own app.
Yeah.
So I can use that. That's another option.
Yeah, so some of the banking have their own apps, have wallets now. Okay, other things that you can put in your digital wallet: gift cards. If you get a gift card from somebody, like for Christmas, and depending on the account or who it's from, you might be able to add that gift card electronically to your digital wallet. Certainly, a generic Visa or MasterCard, debit card gift cards, because you can add them just like you would a regular credit card that you get from your bank. You could add that to your wallet. If you have an iPhone, an Apple gift card, you scan a code and it puts a balance in your Apple account, and there's an account gift card that appears in your Apple wallet.
We'll have to try that because whenever we go out to certain restaurants, Carol dives into her wallet, or as I call it, the black hole. And Lord only knows how many cards are floating around there that have $2 or $3 left on it.
The only ones that I know that I have used is Starbucks and Apple.
take the time to put them in.
Well, it's usually a scan. It's just you just take the camera on your phone and scan a code that's on the gift card, and it adds it. You do have to set up an account with whatever store it is. So, like, I already had a Starbucks account, so when you scan a Starbucks gift card,
I'll just set up an account, and then I would add.
yeah, the Starbucks, yes, and most of these will work the same way. So whatever store it is that may have a gift card, you would need the store app, and the app would have to be written so that it takes advantage of the APIs available by whatever platform it's on to
Automatic programming interface.
Yeah. So it's a hook basically provided by the makers of the operating system so that third parties can take advantage of certain features. So the API allows the store app to be able to send a gift card to the wallet app, and then if you have a balance on an account with that store, then you have it in the wallet. Then you can go scan the wallet. You can just open it up in your wallet and scan that at the store instead of having the physical card or open the store app or whatever.
Yeah, the advantage of that too is, like, say you have the app and then put the card in. If you just bring the card in, they just take off the amount and whatever. But if you have it in an app, sometimes you'll get extra points. And so, because I have apps with places that I don't have cards with them, but I have apps with different places that I use all the time. And they give you discounts and points and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So if you put your card into one, if you actually make up the account, you may get points every time you use that card.
Plus, you'll be able to see what what the remaining balance on the account is. So if you don't use the whole gift card for something, then if you just have the card, you don't know how much is left on it until they may give you a phone number to call maybe, or a website to go look it up. But
Yeah.
9 cents. All right. So other things you can store in your digital wallet. You can do more than payment cards. Boarding passes for your air travel, or concert tickets to concerts you go to. So if those are things that you do, activities you participate in, and you want to use your digital wallet, make sure that the wallet you choose can store those items. And again, it's like we just said, you'll probably have to have an app, like the airline's app that you're flying on, and then you book a flight, and then you have the option of adding the boarding pass from the app to the wallet on that device.
How really secure is all of this?
Oh, may I? Did you hear about the stowaway last month?
You mean the cat in the box?
No. There was a stowaway that was caught on an airplane flight last month. This fellow was on the plane, and they noticed that he was hanging around the restroom and asked him to take a seat, and then they realized it was a full plane, and this guy didn't have a seat. Turns out that what he did was he was wandering around in the boarding area. People had their phones out just like that, and people were getting ready to scan in, so they had their phones up, the images like that, and he kind of went around like with his camera and took a picture of their boarding pass. And he managed to get one that was good enough that he went up there and it scanned. And so he went on somebody else's ticket.
So what happens when that person actually scanned theirs? It would come up as a duplicate.
Yes, and it came up and said, there's a mistake here. So, and they were like, I don't understand why we're getting this. But, and apparently, I'm guessing that what happened then was the gate agent said, well, this is clearly a good ticket, go on. So they wound up with a full flight plus one.
Oh, wow.
And then they finally realized this guy didn't have a seat, and they took him off and, charged him with something or another. So that is something people don't think about, is they're, as they say, they're walking around the boarding area, getting ready to board. They have that up. And this guy actually was able to surreptitiously take a picture that without them being aware of it and then use it for their scan. So now that's kind of an extreme case. I really don't think
it's not like somebody hacked into their airline account and got their boarding.
No, yeah, they were all secure that way.
Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Where they just copied their information right on the site.
It was digitally secure, but it wasn't camera secure.
And if it hadn't been a full plane, he might have gotten away with it, too. Because this whole thing was, I want to get home and I don't have any money. Apparently he's got a nice phone, but he didn't have any money. Yeah.
But how did he get into the boarding area without a ticket? You can't get through security without a boarding pass.
You know, that was never addressed in any of the stuff I read. I don't know.
That's bizarre. It could have been. But still, but when you go through TSA, even if you don't have to show your boarding pass anymore, you still have to show your ID, and they have a system now that shows that you have a ticket.
There are questions to be asked here.
There's some questions. Security was lax at that airport.
Yeah, so
Saying a long time back, I can't remember all the details on it, but it was a hassle. It was a hassle getting on the flight.
Okay, so here's some things to think about. Choose a wallet from a reputable company, which you could say, if it's the company you bought your phone from, I would say that's pretty reputable to use the wallet that came with that company's phone. 4 points to consider, or features to look for. Secure encryption, on-device encryption, and this is what the secure enclave that Apple calls it is talking about. So I'm pretty sure all these major phone manufacturers use that same kind of technology, so that your data in your wallet is encrypted on device, never leaves your device, and can only be accessed through whatever security your phone has, passcode, fingerprint, or facial recognition. Tokenization, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit in a later slide, but that has to do with how the payment information is transmitted from your phone through the payment terminal to the bank. to authorize the funds to be transferred. Multi-factor or biometric authentication. So like we talked about 2FA earlier, you want a system that provides that kind of authentication or biometric authentication. In other words, you have to use your fingerprint or your facial recognition in order to initiate the transfer, the payment. So that just because you tap it on the terminal doesn't mean it's going to happen. You have to actually also add that biometric authentication or a second factor. And wallet apps are more and more convenient in that they can provide you with transaction history and payment management information, so that you can see a history of particular cards use and what transactions you have, and you can look through and say, hey, this doesn't look like something I did, and you can report it if you need to. So, and more bank cards and so forth are being able to integrate into these major platform wallets, so that you can open up the credit card in the wallet app and you can see the transactions that you've used it for and get information about the use of that card. So don't use the digital wallet app from a company you don't know. That would go for, I would say, that would be good advice for any app in any category. Or if it's something you can try for free, like a game, that's different. But, something that's going to deal with critical financial information, don't trust it unless you know something about the company. Okay? Now we're going to switch gears a little bit here. How do you set up a digital wallet? So, most of them are fairly simple. If you use the corresponding app for your device, which will most likely just be called Wallet, the operating systems or the platform owners have created a very customer friendly, easy to use way of setting up a wallet. So you already have the app on your smartphone usually. So if you got an Apple iPhone or a Samsung phone or a Google Pixel phone, there will be a wallet app already there because it's provided by the service or by the manufacturer as part of the operating system. You don't have to download or install anything. So just check out, see if you have a wallet app already. To add payment card information, usually it's just simple as actually scanning the physical card. You just get your card out, you open the wallet app, you say you're going to add a card, and it opens up, it accesses the camera on the device and says, scan the card. So it has to be the side of the card that has your name, obviously, and the card number, and it'll scan it in, and then it'll communicate with your financial institution. If the scan doesn't work or doesn't have that option, then you can manually type it in, along with the expiration date and security code and all that's needed. And then you wait, not long, but your bank will verify that you can use that card in that digital wallet. And usually it's right on the device. Most of the times you'll also get an email from your financial institution says, you've added your card to your wallet on Apple Pay. And then you're good to go. Then you're ready to go. And you can do that with any of your cards, debit cards, credit cards. Gift cards come in through a different way, but any kind of payment card that you want to add from a bank or credit union, that's basically the simple process. It's not too time-consuming at all. All right. So now that we have a way to pay with our digital wallets, what about the safety? Are these things secure? How do these things work? How do they protect our data? We've already kind of touched on that a little bit, but it's an understandable concern because it is our financial information. Now, digital wallets can be very safe. There are differences from wallet to wallet, so you want to do your research like we talked about before. Check with your bank, check with your merchants, find out what's accepted, how they deal with it, and check with the the process that your smartphone actually uses. Check with the manufacturer's support files. How does a wallet work? How does it transmit the data? How does it do all that? Find out and help rest your mind on how this works. So the common platform wallets are usually the safest because it's built into the system. They've worked with banks. They've worked with financial institutions to set up the infrastructure on the back end so that all this stuff works. They use a number of safety features to keep your payments safe. Biometric authentication being a big part of it. So almost every smartphone today is either going to have a fingerprint sensor or a facial recognition sensor of some kind, so that to unlock it, it has to recognize you as you. If someone else tries to use your phone to make a payment with your wallet, even if they could get your phone unlocked, they won't have your fingerprint because you have your fingerprint.
So you have to have biometrics in place in order to have a wallet.
No, you can also use a passcode like you can to unlock the phone. It's not as secure, I don't think, because your biometrics are unique to you, whereas someone could use your passcode if they knew it.
If you can't see your fingerprint, I mean, sometimes there's so real.
Yeah, doesn't come through. Maybe one of your other fingers is better than another one. Yeah, so there are some limitations that you have to work around possibly.
Yeah, all chalk dust over there, can't use it.
Chalk dust. My wife has never, even when she was young, and she had to have her fingerprints for, working in the school system. You had to go to the FBI or the sheriff's office and you get your fingerprints. You had to get, background clearance. She had to have her fingerprints done over and over again, multiple times before they got a good one that they could send to check. So it wasn't just because she was old or used chalk all the time. It was just the way her fingerprints are. And she still, to this day, her iPad is a fingerprint iPad too. And she can't unlock her iPad with her fingers. She has to do her passcodes.
Yeah, same with her.
PIN numbers. Interestingly enough, even though technically, safety-wise, they're really not necessary, but if you use a debit card in a digital wallet, often the payment terminal is still going to ask you for your PIN number. So that's the way they're programmed, and so there's another level of, safety and security there, I guess. So, and then, as we mentioned before, on-device encryption and tokenization in terms of how the data is transmitted. I think I have a slide that's just on tokenization. Can't remember now. I do. So let's talk about what tokenization really is. This is what really makes digital wallet payments safer than swiping your physical card or even putting the chip and dip in. You have a card with an electronic chip and you stick it in the slot instead of swiping the magnetic thing. What tokenization does is when you do a payment with your digital wallet, like tap to pay, or and you've got your biometric authorization so that the transaction can take place. When it transmits the data, it does not use your actual credit or debit card number. It's never shared with the merchant. There's an algorithm that runs on your bank card to create a one-time transaction-specific code or token, and that's what's transmitted to the payment terminal, which in turn transmits to the banking institution, the financial institution, to get authorization to charge whatever the amount is. It also times out, so it's only good for a certain period of time, and that cannot be used for any other transaction other than that one specific transaction at that moment. So if the token was actually intercepted and the person or persons intercepting it had an algorithm that they were able to unencrypt or decode it so that they could actually know what your actual credit card number is, they still couldn't use that to make a charge because it's specific to that transaction. So tokenization is one of the ways that makes a digital wallet safer than actually using a physical card, because a physical card can get stolen. Then they've got your number. Yes, Tony.
So if you go to merchant overseas, that's going to change?
Yeah, every time you use it, it's going to have a brand new token. So
How do you get that random token?
it's all done with the computers do it. The device generates it on the fly at the time of transaction. And your banking institution, that's why the bank has to verify when you add a credit card to your wallet, and it transmits a message to your banking institution, and it gets a verification so that the banking institution knows that you're using this through a digital wallet. So your bank, they're the one that issued the card. They know your card number. So when you have a transaction that's tokenized, the token has an algorithm that, your phone has an algorithm that creates the token at the time of payment. The token is sent to the financial institution. They know the algorithm too because they're working in the system with the operating system manufacturer, like for Apple, for instance. So the bank has to support the system. They know the algorithm. They can decode it, and they know that token applies to this particular card that's assigned to you in your account. And then they say, okay, yeah, that's the right one. Send the funds, pay for it. But then the token times out, and it's only good for that transaction anyway. So the token can't be used for anything else than that one payment, no matter whenever it is. And so the next time you use the same card in your digital wallet at a different retailer, it's a totally different token, maybe the same card, but it's a totally different token, and it's only good for that transaction. Does that help? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think I used that once down in Mexico, but I forgot what the process to go to.
So what can you put in a digital wallet? Well, we've already talked about payment cards, credit cards, debit cards. You can put gift cards. And as I mentioned, I've used Apple and Starbucks gift cards. I haven't tried anything else up to this point. I'm going to have to do some more research. And cash cards. Apple has their own cash card, which is tied sort of to their credit card. So if I make a purchase using my Apple credit card, I get a certain percentage cash back, and it's automatically added to my Apple Cash card. And the Apple Cash card can be used in the wallet just like any other payment card, as long as the balance on it will cover the amount of the transaction. Other companies have their own cash cards. Square Cash. You can have a Square Cash account. I wouldn't be surprised if PayPal, since you can carry a balance on your PayPal account, they may have a cash card that you could add to your wallet.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Can you take payment in your wallet?
This is a little sidebar, but I can't speak to Google phones or Samsung phones. Within the last, it's been a couple years now, I think, Apple opened up the NFC reader on an iPhone for you to be able to take payments like a vendor would. So, for instance, I had a client, a graphic design client, and they were going to pay me, and they said, "Can I use my card?" And I do have a Square Cash reader but I didn't have it with me. And then I realized, oh, I can actually take a payment right directly on my phone.
From the wallet app?
No, you have to have the supporting account service app. So since I had a Square Cash reader, I have a Square account for, merchant to be able to receive payments. So I bring up the Square app on my phone, and it will use the NFC reader, and the person paying the bill just had to tap their credit card on my phone, and it transferred the payment for the bill. So there are ways of receiving money on your phone as a payment from somebody else.
Was the wallet required for what you just said?
The wallet app was not involved, but the technology behind that service was. So
If I don't use a wallet, so no wallet is involved on my phones, but I have the Square app.
and as long as your phone is new enough to support the operating system that this was opened up in, then you could take payments with the Square app.
And she's using an iPhone 7 for that, so.
Yeah.
Because I think it's on Twitter.
So yeah, it was at least 2 years ago. So it would have been iOS 16 you're running, right?
No,
15?
no, 15.
16's current. No, 17's the current.
I
So,
think the 7's stuck at 15.
okay. 15. So, yeah, at least 2 years ago then.
Oh, it also indicates that the Apple Cash Card can be set up to accept payments. So, if you wanted to go that way. Yes. The Apple Cash Card in your Apple Wallet can be set up to to accept payments as well. That's another way that they can go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Neither did I just searched it.
I mean, I know that you can accept Apple Cash like through the Messages app from other people that have Apple Cash Card accounts, but I didn't know you could accept payments.
Open Wallet app, tap your Apple Cash Card, tap card details, and tap automatically accept payments or manually accept payments.
So you can use the wallet to accept payments as well.
If you have the cash card.
If you have the Cash Card, you have an Apple Cash Card on an iPhone. And like I said, I can't speak to the Google, Android, or Samsung stuff because I don't have any experience with it.
So in that case, you have to have the wallet with the Apple Cash Card in it.
Yeah,
Or
apparently. I'm going to have to look at that. Yes.
Back then when I was traveling, they didn't have all these fancy things that you're talking about. But when I called the credit card told company and told them what I wanted to do and this and that, they issued me a special number. And that number would rotate. And they kept track of that number. They told me to keep track. And every day I did it, I had to change the numbers.
Oh, my gosh.
And they gave me a list to write it down on. So that made it a little bit easy. That was the traveling to Europe. That way back when they didn't have some of these fancy things that they got.
Oh, yeah.
Of doing things. And it didn't make things easy to make the transactions because I kind of screwed up. And we had to make long distance phone calls to get it corrected from Europe.
Well, I think Europe today is they're ahead. They were ahead of the United States in terms of this digital payment system stuff. They've been doing tap to pay and stuff like that before it became popular here.
They were doing tap to pay before we could convince our credit card companies to put chips in.
To chips, exactly, yeah. All right, so another thing that you can possibly put into your wallet is your digital ID. Interesting concept here. So, Arizona is one of the few states where you can currently legally use a digital ID. Now, it's got some limited use. And in terms of being able to use it like tap to pay, where you got to go through some kind of security and you need to identify yourself by tapping a kiosk, the only place that you can do that right now is the TSA checkpoints at Phoenix Sky Harbor. This is according to John. He's used it there. Supposedly, conceptually, if you get pulled over by law enforcement, you should be able to show your digital ID, or they should have a device where you can tap to identify yourself. And that's how it's supposed to work. But I think it's going to be a long rollout before like every law enforcement vehicle has the infrastructure built into it to do this kind of thing. However, there is a way of bringing up your digital ID on your phone and just showing it to the officer, so that, and you should be able to do that without actually pulling out a physical, driver's license. Now it's supposed to be legal to do that. I have never been pulled over to try it out, and I'm not going to.
Go back home at about 120 miles.
Yeah, not going to test it out. But that's supposedly how it's supposed to work. Eventually, other states currently that you can do that with are Colorado, Georgia, and Maryland. So there's only 4 states where this is actually legal at currently, but it's being worked on with 9 other states and 8 other states in one territory. So these states and the Puerto Rico are all in the works in terms of their discussions with the platform makers to be able to have a digital ID legal in their jurisdictions. And it again is similar to add it. It's very similar to adding a credit card. You open up the wallet. So you want to add a digital ID, and that option is only available in the states where it's legal, obviously. And then you scan your driver's license or your real ID, whatever they call it now, and do the front and the back, and then it has to communicate with your state authority to verify it.
It gets a little more complicated. I finally got it to work.
Did you?
Because after you scan your driver's license, then it wants you to use your phone. And it makes you go through a few things where, hold it up there. Okay, move it this way, move it that way, where it's scanning your face 3D.
Yeah.
Finally got that to work.
Yeah, that's
so I finally got it because I've been going through updating all my passwords. And on the new MVD website, one of their options is to lock it in with the digital ID.
Mm-hmm.
So that now I'm basically using face recognition to get into that website.
Right.
So at least that's one thing that it's used for too.
Okay. Other things you can add to your digital wallet. Possibly insurance cards, your health insurance, depending on the provider. Dental. I know I have Delta Dental. I have a Delta Dental app, and I can add my Delta Dental insurance card to my wallet from the Delta Dental app. So again, it'd be depending on the insurance provider, they would have to have an app that you would download and you log into your insurance account, and then that app would have to have the capability of sending the insurance card to the wallet, but that's how it works. So that's a possibility. Also, automobile insurance. Some insurance providers have, they all probably all have their own apps these days. Who doesn't have an app? But I know Progressive. I have Progressive auto insurance, and the app has my insurance card in it, and I have the option of sending it to my digital wallet. And because I don't know if it's because of, but I'm pretty sure that in Arizona, it's also legal to show your digital insurance as proof of insurance, as opposed to a paper insurance card that you have to pull out of your glove compartment when to show law enforcement if you get pulled over for a traffic violation or whatever. So, these things are becoming more and more ubiquitous in terms of using digital versions of these kinds of things when needed. Health cards. These are 2 that I have anyway. I have a COVID vaccination record, and during the time when you had to have a proof of vaccination to get into a venue, I never had to use it, but in bigger metropolitan areas, they had this thing instituted, and I could bring up, if I were to go there, I could bring up my COVID vaccination record barcode, and it would scan it and it would let me in because it verified that I'd been vaccinated. There's others, I'm sure. And the Red Cross. I'm a regular blood donor. Red Cross has an app. I have a Red Cross donor card in my wallet, but I can put the digital version of that into my Apple Wallet, and now I can just flash my Red Cross donor card when I check in to give blood, and they scan the barcode, and they have my ID and all my records for all the blood donations I've given. So that's nice. It's convenient. Loyalty and rewards cards are other things that can be added to your digital wallet. Again, these are all going to be dependent on the app associated with whatever retailer or restaurant that you have a loyalty account with. So I've got, you can see that 4 out of 5 of these examples here have either a QR code or a barcode. So if I'm going into Fry's and I need to scan my Fry's membership card at checkout, so I get the digital coupons and all the discounts that you get as a member, I have to bring up the barcode and scan the barcode from my phone. Walgreens, however, theirs is a NFC tap to pay thing. So all I have to do is tap and the Walgreens on the Walgreens payment terminal, and Walgreens has me logged in as for my loyalty card for whatever purchases I'm making at Walgreens, and that works online as well. So it just depends on the app and the store how they might work, but you can use loyalty cards in your wallet.
So we could just describe, use your phone, the way you said at Walgreens. Do you have to open it to use it? Or can you put it next to it?
I haven't gone physically into Walgreens in a while. I think
This really does actually apply, except for payment, but any of these,
yeah.
you have to.
It may depend on the app associated with it. So I think Walgreens and Fry's works this way too. You can, and it's probably a user setting. It's been so long now I can't remember. But you can set it up so that because your phone knows where you are, when you go into a location, and like when I go into Fry's, I get a notification on my lock screen in my phone that shows the Fry's account, and I just tap on it, and then it'll show the barcode, and I don't unlock the phone at all. So, and Walgreens, I think, has the same kind of thing. So Walgreens, I'm in Walgreens, and I look at my phone, and it's not unlocked. Well, when I look at it, it unlocks it, but there's a notification, Walgreens, and I can just tap on that, and then it will verify my ID with my facial recognition, and I can tap, and it. In essence, yeah. And again, it's going to depend on the app.
Like on my phone, I don't have thumb, I don't have face, so I have to enter.
Yeah,
In that case,
you'll have.
as I'm understanding, I would need to enter into my phone for it to.
Possibly, yes.
Actually, maybe not. It just says here, looking up at the website for how it works, it just says when you're at the checkout counter at a Walgreens store, all you need to do is hold your iPhone or Apple Watch close to the card reader with your finger on the Touch ID or Face ID for verification. A subtle vibration and beep will let you know your payment's gone through.
But she doesn't have Touch ID or Face ID.
Then that would make that more difficult.
Yeah.
Well, just one more step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was checking on.
Yeah.
That step is required. That's I did.
I thought that I had done that like that at Walgreens, but I couldn't. It's been a while.
Use thumb and face recognition. Probably forget about us people. I mean, you do it just because your phone is right in front of you.
Absolutely.
Doesn't the 7 have a Touch ID sensor?
Yes.
I don't use any of it.
Oh, I see. You just choose not to use it.
It's so easy to just habitually do that.
Well, okay.
Of course, some of the thing that I was against face recognition for a long time. Now that I've got it, oh my God, it is so easy.
Oh, I know. And my iPad doesn't have it. Like my wife's said, it does read my fingerprint. But I'm so used to unlocking the phone with Face ID, and I open up my iPad and I stand and well, how come you're not unlocking? Oh yeah, I gotta touch it. So, yeah, it's very convenient. It's easy. Tress,
How easy is it to compromise it, to put your face on somebody else's?
Don't know. I have no idea.
there was a lot of when Face ID first came out, there was a lot of stuff on the internet about people trying to build, facial constructions, to try to fool it. And some people, I think some were actually successful, but you know how they did it? They had to take the person that the Face ID was set up for and do one of those facial molds, and then create a new mask from it that was a 3D representation of the real person. And then they had to paint it so that the eyes looked open, because the Face ID technology has attention awareness. So if your eyes are closed, it won't work unless you've turned that feature off. So, they had to go through a lot of hoops in order to fool Face ID with a fake version of the real person. So the likelihood of somebody being able to do that
willing and available of all.
You would have to be drugged, and then they would have to take you and make a mold of your face while you were unconscious, and then take you someplace, and then you'd have to have like memory loss so you didn't know that you were unconscious. Yeah, just a photograph didn't work, because what it's doing is it's shooting LiDAR signals at your face to see the 3 dimensions of your head. It's not a flat, just image. Okay, that was a little off topic, but another thing you can put into your digital wallets, we've already mentioned boarding passes. Obviously, you can put your flight boarding pass in there. Other transit passes, like for bus and trains, you can put those kinds of passes into your digital wallets. And what's the newest part of that is what's called express transit. There are systems, it's all over Europe, and I think it's starting to happen in major metropolitan areas in this country now too, where if you're commuting on mass transit regularly, you can have an account, and so that you can get on and off. Well, you can get on quicker than going through a kiosk and buying a ticket and then going and scanning or whatever they do now. You just walk through the turnstile, and the turnstiles have the near field communications or Bluetooth, and it senses the app on your phone, and it pays for your trip, and you just walk on. And those things now can be put in your wallet app. So you don't even have to get your phone out to get on a train if you're using this express transit technology. You just walk through the turnstile and it charges your account. Entertainment tickets, concert tickets, theme park passes, those kinds of things can be put on your wallet. Now, there are some disadvantages. We've talked about some of the advantages already, but I will quick list here. It's convenient. You don't have to carry your physical wallet or physical payment cards or a wallet full of loyalty cards. Before I started using an iPhone as a digital wallet for these kinds of things, and before it became a little bit easier to do it. At first, there wasn't a lot of places that would accept them, but now that's changed quite a bit. I had a wallet that had a zipper closure and had so many cards in that thing that the zipper busted because it was so tight. And it wouldn't fit in my pocket anyway. So I'm so glad I didn't have to carry that big, thick wallet around anymore. So now I have a thinner wallet if I need to carry some cash and a few cards. So the convenience is nice. It's also contactless in most cases. So you can just tap or get close to the payment terminal. You don't have to touch it.
Is there any fear of someone like the guy taking a picture of the ticket on the plane? Is there any possibility or likelihood that someone can walk by your phone and charge, bill you or take money from your wallet?
I've never heard of that happen.
Well, a machine on a counter can.
Yeah.
Why couldn't a phone have such digital possibility? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Well, there is, I know, with the latest iPhones, the latest operating system, I should say, because it does support, I think, at least back to, like, I have a 13. There's a feature where you can take you get two phones, tap them close together, and you can either exchange like contact information or send the other person money through Apple Cash. But it has to be accepted on both sides. So somebody just walking by you and tapping a phone close to yours to try to get something from your phone wouldn't be able to happen, because you would have to actually say, okay, yes, I agree to this on the screen. So not likely. I don't think so.
Near field communication has to be less than 4 centimeters. In reality, it's more like 5 centimeters, 0 to 5.
Yeah.
So you have to be close enough that you're probably going to be fairly obvious if you're trying to hold your device that close to them for the few seconds or whatever it would take.
Probably going to think that they're groping you more than anything.
Probably.
Okay, another advantage is the security. Digital wallets can be more secure than a physical card. Now, let's look at some disadvantages. I've got 2 screens of disadvantages. Doesn't mean that there's more really that outweighs the advantages, but there are some things to consider. Still, because of just the slow rollout of the technology, not all retailers can accept digital wallet. And some of them don't even take tap to pay. They still have to you either have to swipe the card or put a chip in. I've even still found I've still occasionally come across somebody that has a payment terminal that doesn't even have a chip reader. They're still swiping. And, I guess they're willing to absorb all the fraud risk, because the credit card companies say, if you're not using a chip, then you're responsible for the fraud if we have a fraud claim. Anyway.
Or even if it's a tap reader, I don't know how many times I've been tapping a card all over. Where is the reader? Is it up here? Is it down?
Right. It's not obvious where the actual radio is. You got to get within 4 centimeters. Some retailers will only accept specific wallets or apps associated with their loyalty program. I mentioned Fry's before. They do not take Apple Pay, at least currently, and it's just slowly adopting it. But, a Safeway, I can just go and pay with my watch. I don't even have to get my phone out. But if I want to use Kroger Pay, or I want to pay digitally at Kroger, or at Fry's, I have to open up the Fry's app, go to the Kroger Pay, scan a barcode, and that's the only way that they will take a wallet payment. And it's not even an Apple Wallet, it's their app. Walmart is the same way. Walmart, if you want to use a digital payment, you have to do it through the Walmart app. So it just, some places don't want to take just generic digital wallet payments. John added a comment, or added a bullet point here, that this is most common outside of the U.S., which seems weird to me, but he's the one who's been traveling overseas. So that the retailers only accept specific wallets, not a general like Apple Pay wallet or Google Pay wallet. They have to have a wallet or an app that's associated with their store, so or their loyalty program. There are some other disadvantages. Of course, you have to have an internet connection for the payment terminal to be able to accept the payments from a digital wallet. That's also true if you're going to swipe or dip a card. That terminal has to have an internet connection in order to communicate with the banking system to authorize the payment. So the only way to avoid the internet in terms of making a payment is to pay cash.
And you say you have to have an internet connection. Sometimes it's a cell connection you can send me.
No, but on the terminal side, like the Safeway terminal, they have to be connected.
Yeah. And I don't know how they may be connected via the cell network too, but it's still a connection to the internet so they can transmit data to the bank.
I know when I use my Square, if there's no internet, it'll just go onto my cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a cellular internet connection. It's still an internet connection. It's just being provided by your cell provider. Yeah. Okay, another one. You have to use your smart device, of course, and if your smart device battery dies, your digital wallet dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep your device charged if you're going to use it for digital wallet. Your physical card or cash don't need batteries. And these are kind of minor disadvantages, in my opinion, but, they are possible disadvantages. So managing multiple payment options. This, I think, is getting close to the last slide. Good, because we're getting close to the end of the day, into the meeting. But so you can have more than one payment option in your wallet. You can have multiple credit cards, debit cards, depending on how many banks you bank with, whatever. Gift cards, we mentioned before, cash cards. They can all be in the same wallet. And you don't need to stick to one payment option when you use your digital wallet. So once you've got all these things in there, when you go to use it, depending on where you are and what you're going to use, whether it's a loyalty card, gift card, or payment card, it's just a menu. You choose which card you want to use. You can swipe through all the cards in your wallet and choose the appropriate one. And you are able to set up a default payment card in most cases, I would say probably all cases, so that if you go in and you bring up your digital wallet and you're ready to pay, it's going to use the card that you choose to use the most often. The one that you want to use the most often, you set that as your default, and then you don't have to worry about choosing one. You just bring it up, and it's going to automatically have that one ready to go, and you authorize it with your fingerprint or your facial scan, and then you're ready to pay. That's what adds to the convenience to it. Do it fairly quickly. I find it faster than digging through my pocket or wallet or backpack for a physical card to bring out and hand to the person and have them scan it and chip and dip or whatever they do and hand it back to me. So it's nice. I like digital wallet payments. So what about using digital wallets if you're on your computer and you're shopping online? Can you do that? Well, yes. And we found out earlier that you can have a digital wallet on Microsoft Edge. I didn't. Yeah. Who knew? Who knew? Most computer operating systems, though, at least that I'm aware of, and that's only Windows and actually Windows 10.
Well, I'd expect it to be part of a browser, though.
And yeah, at the system level, unlike on your smartphone, there's not a wallet app on Mac OS or in Windows. Is there? I don't think there's a wallet app in Windows as an app.
Not that I know.
So mostly what happens is when you're shopping online, you get to the payment options, when you're in your shopping cart and you're checking out, that's where you'll be presented possibly with options to pay that are different than just typing in your credit card or debit card numbers. You'll see buttons that may offer Apple Pay or Google Pay or Venmo or PayPal or, who others. Just depends on the website and the vendor and what they've decided to accept. And so if you see an Apple Pay button on a website and you have Apple Pay set up and an Apple Digital Wallet on your phone, you can pay online on the computer using that process. And what happens?
Windows does have Microsoft Pay.
Microsoft Pay. Oh, wow. There we go.
Well, done in 2016. I wonder if it survived the mobile devices. Previously known as Microsoft Wallet. Oh, okay. Supported on the Edge web browser.
Yeah, so that's where it went.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. So in the case of Apple Pay, I'm on a website. I'm on my Mac. I select to pay with Apple Pay rather than entering my credit card information, and it will communicate through Apple's back end somehow. I don't mean that in a rude way, but the service, Apple Pay service, and I'll get a notification on my phone to authenticate the payment. And then I can scan my face and it tells the system, yes, this is me making the purchase. And then somehow it travels back to the website saying, yes, he's authorized that. And there's, a thing that comes up on the screen that tells you that it's doing it. And then it makes the payment using my Apple Wallet, even though I don't have an Apple Wallet app on my Mac. So you can shop with some of these digital wallets depending on what you've got configured and how the websites that you shop at are set up in order to do that kind of thing. So if you see other payment options other than just credit card, then they have coded their website in order to be able to take digital wallet payments.
Or fingerprints. What happens if you get a cut in your finger and that's all you have?
I don't know. It depends on the sensitivity of the sensor, I suppose. Depends on how severe the cut might be. If it can't actually authenticate your fingerprint, then yeah, it wouldn't authorize the payment.
Could you still authenticate using your passcode on your device?
No. I've not seen it do that. When it fails for me, usually it fails on the back end. It's not. What happens is the phone never gets the signal to bring up the Face ID authorization thing, and it just spins and spins on the website, and I don't know what's causing it. Really, it's all the mystery of the internet. And then I usually have to then opt into the credit card instead of Apple Pay.
The only reason I am asking the question, before a lot of this technology came through, is I used to do a lot of woodworking.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The fingerprint dent is not the same. And when I try to do something, it would fail me.
Yeah.
And I have to wait to the bank anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens with biometric authentication. Yeah.
I mean, I realize convenience is great, but you could be in trouble, did I even know it?
Yeah.
Wear gloves with your woodwork.
There you go. Usually though, if that authentication fails, there's usually an optional way of doing it. Like Mike asked about if you could do just a passcode. Well, I haven't experienced that, but maybe that would work for certain situations, or it could be that you just have to decide to use a different payment option. So
Life finds a way.
yeah. Any other questions on digital wallets?
More than you ever wanted to know.
Right. I'm just curious, how many actually use the digital wallet that's here? Anybody besides me?
I have it set up. I haven't actually used it. Well, she uses Square.
She's Square to take payments, yeah.
This, I'm probably going to set up an Apple Cash card, and I was looking at the Square, trying to see how to do what.
Yeah, I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start playing around with this more.
Oh, I love, and it's still funny because it's been around for a number of years now, but I still love going in and using my watch to pay for something, and often the person, that's the retailer or whoever's the customer service person is, whoa, you can pay with your watch? Yeah.
I love the idea.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun still, the reaction sometimes. So thanks again to our sponsors today, Mia Bella's Candles and Carolyn the Candle Lady. And Story Power Podcast at sagewoman.life. Appreciate your support, and I'll get those acknowledgments on Facebook sooner this month than I did last month. Okay, so that's the end of today's show. See you next month.
But Mary, send me the receipt.
Okay, and happy Mother's Day tomorrow to you mothers and your mothers. All you mothers out there.